Hey, Faith Family, welcome back to the YouTube channel and a feature called Preacher Feature, featuring our own Pastor Wes. Now, here at the YouTube channel, if you get the opportunity, subscribe, hit that like button, and expect markedly more from the features department, like vignettes coming your way at our YouTube channel. Have you ever had your eyes on the Sparrow? Think about that as Pastor Wes hits us with this Preacher Feature.
It was a cold November night in Manhattan, but warm inside the Starbucks off Times Square. A crowd was gathered to hear John Thomas Oakes play songs ranging from the 1940s to the 1990s. And at one point in the evening, while the crowd was singing together, "If You Don't Know Me By Now," a lady in the crowd caught John's attention. He was struck by the way she was singing. When he finished singing, he invited her on stage to sing with him. She was hesitant at first, but then she said, "Okay." "What would you like to sing?" John asked her. "I don't know. Do you know any hymns?" she replied. John thought for a moment, and then he said, "How about His eye is on the sparrow?" And the expression on her face froze. It was as if she was in shock. And then she said, "Okay, let's sing that." John proceeded to play. In the next few moments, that Manhattan Starbucks was filled with a voice so captivating you couldn't hear a cappuccino machine. It was followed by an applause that was so deafening you would have thought you were in Carnegie Hall. John noticed the lady seemed distracted. He leaned over to her and said, "That was beautiful." And with tears streaming down her face, she looked at John and said, "It's interesting that you picked that song. That was my 16-year-old daughter's favorite song. She died last week because of a brain tumor. Tonight, I know that I'm going to be okay." Let me ask you, do you believe that that just so happened? That on that specific November night, that lady walked into that Starbucks, just happened to catch John's eye. He just happened to invite her to sing. Of all the hymns he picked, it was her daughter's favorite hymn, a daughter she had just lost to cancer. Do you live in the reality that the God who is sovereign over heaven and earth is sovereign over the details of your life? Do you believe that the circumstances of life, even though at times they're confusing and frustrating, are not for one moment outside the hand of a sovereign God? You know, the Bible is full of stories where we get to see things like this, that God's eye really is on the sparrow. You take, for instance, Joseph's life. Joseph sold into slavery by jealous brothers, falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, forgotten in prison, and yet Joseph has the faith to know that God sent him there, that God meant it for good. Naomi, for instance, in the book of Ruth, she loses her homeland. She loses her husband. She loses her sons. And all she's left is two Moabite daughter-in-laws. One just happens to be named Ruth, who just happens to go out into a field to glean, who just happens to meet a man by the name of Boaz, who just happens to be single. They just happen to get married. They just happen to have a child that would be the lineage to Jesus Christ. Matthew chapter 10, verse 29 says this, "Are not two sparrows sold for a penny, and not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father? But even the hairs of your head are numbered. Fear not, therefore. You are more valuable than many sparrows." God's eye is on the sparrow. His sovereignty extends to the details of your life. Rest in that. Hope in that. even when it doesn't make sense. And know that no matter what, you will be okay.